Welcome. I'm Travis.
And I'm Tyler, and this is Strategies for Success, a show that explores many topics while aiming to equip listeners with simple and practical lessons you can use in your everyday life.
Now join us on our journey as we reach for the impossible. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Strategies for Success. This is Travis.
And I'm Tyler, and the topic for this episode is drained.
Drained.
You guys ever felt drained before?
Absolutely.
Me too. So there's a lot of different ways that you can feel drained. That could be physically, emotionally, maybe even spiritually. You could be drained of your resources. Travis and I were talking before we started this episode, what are valuable resources? And I would say the most valuable is time.
Yeah.
Money's an important one. Energy. Those things that you can be drained from for when you expend energy or you spend money or you spend your time and you feel like you don't have enough of it, you can feel very drained.
I had a guy tell me when I was first starting out in service, he was doing service training, and I throw a little tagline in here for him, but Bob Clements International, they do business consulting, and he's a really good guy. He can get you taken care of, but he specializes in dealership like ours, like ag equipment dealerships and lawn and garden. And he told me, he said, let me just tell you, one of the most difficult things with service is it's one of the hardest sales jobs. And the reason being is when you're selling equipment, if you don't sell a tractor, a lawnmower, or even a car or whatever it may be, guess what? When you come back to work tomorrow, it's still there, But he said, here's the thing. Imagine running a service department. It's like running a grocery store, and every day at the end of the day, your groceries expire and you have to throw them in the trash. And he said, that's what it's like when you're selling time on service tickets. You don't get it back. You only have it one time. You're only able to use it one time. And when it's gone, you never get it back. And so I've tried to take that and apply it to myself to realize that, hey, yes, money is a valuable resource, energy, all those things that Tyler mentioned, emotional, all those things are great things. Also the 4 ways that we grow, physically, emotionally, spiritually, those things, they're very, very important. But time is our most valuable resource.
I was talking to somebody, I talked about it. I came from a sports background, and so I was used to working very hard in sports physically. And, sometimes I would be drained at the end of the day, maybe after a practice or a long workout or something like that. I would be drained physically. And now I don't have as physical of a job. I'm not playing sports, so I have a lot of mental stress and thinking a lot of that. And so sometimes at the end of the day, I just feel drained. And I was talking to somebody about that, and I'm like, it's hard for me to, feel like I'm actually doing something because I'm physically not doing that much, but I'm actually mentally draining because I'm using a lot of brain power and thinking a lot and have a lot of stress like that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be drained and you can use your energy.
Here's the whole point. We've made this very clear what we're talking about on being trained, but not just being drained. We want to help you be successful, right? The strategies for success, not strategies for how to be drained. So we want to turn this around. And how do you do that? Well, part of it's pacing yourself. If you spend every dime to the point that you're like, man, I hope I had some money in the bank, hope my bank card works, it's stressful. That's not a way to live. And if you burn every little bit of time, you have every minute of your day booked, it is stressful. Mm-hmm. And, I've had people who are rush around where they give themselves 30 minutes to drive 45 minutes away. It's very stressful. So be realistic with your time. Me and Tyler were talking, and mechanics are guilty of this a lot. And I can't say just mechanics. I've done it myself working on something, but you're like, oh man, I can knock that out in 30 minutes. And then it's like 5 hours later, you've just to get it tore down. And now you're like, I wish I'd have just paid the guy to install this, Mm-hmm. And so be with your time, keep some in reserve. And if you got to be somewhere in 30 minutes, give yourself 45 minutes to get there. Take that stress and that pressure off, so you're not always driving around on empty.
I'm very guilty of that myself. I'll be honest. It actually happened tonight when I was coming over here to record with Travis. I got off work a little bit later than I expected, and one problem that I have is setting unfair expectations for myself, unrealistic, I guess I should say. So I told Travis, hey, I'll be here at such and such time. Well, I was stopping to get some food on the way in, stopping to get some pizza. the pizza place was running little bit longer. And so I was causing stress for myself because I told Travis, hey, I'm going to be here at this time. And then something went wrong and I wasn't able to be there, which this wasn't a big deal because it's not like we're on a super big time crunch. But sometimes I am on more of a time crunch and I just set unrealistic expectations. So that's something I'm trying to work on getting better at is being realistic and giving myself plenty of time to do something or whatever it may be. It's not always just the time restraint that you have.
I'm guilty of a lot of things with the time and even with money. I've always been a pretty successful sales guy. And instead of budgeting, I'm one of those guys like just go all in and I'll figure out how to pay for it as I
Sell
need
some
to.
more stuff.
Exactly. And I've never had it catch me to the point that it's put me in a real bind. But I'll tell you, it's not a way that you want to be successful and do things. And I'm trying to fix that in my own life. The other with the time that you have, I like to do a lot of volunteer with the boys ministry and things like that. But I plan certain nights a week. I plan every Tuesday night, me and my wife do a date night. That's valuable time to me. And me and Tyler book, so many nights a month that we're going to do a podcast, and we plan these out. And then I don't book things on certain nights because I need some time to rest and recuperate. If I was doing something every night, I'm going to be running around drained and I'm going to be on empty. And here's the deal. When you're broke and you want to help somebody, you have no resources to help them. And if you have no time on your schedule, then you're running around drained and on empty and you have nothing to give. And so you want to make sure that you have resources, that you are an asset and not a drain to the situation.
And sometimes just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean you can comfortably afford it. And that's not just money. That could be time. That could be whatever you fill in the blank. But, sometimes you hear people where they're like, I got paid today. We're having steaks tonight, and then they're not going to have enough money to buy groceries at the end of the second week before they get paid. So sometimes you got to be smart about budgeting and thinking for the future. Sometimes just because it's nice in the short term doesn't mean it's going to be so nice in the long term if you don't prepare accordingly. But being drained, there's a lot of ways you can refill your energy. And one thing that really helps me get recharged is helping other people. And as Travis was talking a second ago, it made me think of the valuable resource of time. We both help in boys ministry at our church. And sometimes I've had to catch myself because we'll be doing something. You have a lesson plan, have a game plan, have all these activities. And then sometimes a kid starts talking to you and you're like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do this. And I kind of have to stop and catch myself and think, hey, this kid just needs someone to listen to. It's his birthday today, or listen to what he did at school, listen to what he learned today, listen to the toy that he got recently, or whatever it may be. He just needs someone to listen to him, to be there for him, and spend some time, because not all kids get that, and not all adults get that either. So sometimes people just need you to help them out and listen to them. And when you're drained and you do that to help somebody else, you're probably going to feel rejuvenated after the fact. And that's not for everybody, but you kind of need to figure out what makes you feel recharged.
A good friend of mine that helps with boys ministry that at his church and also with Region, his name is Roger, and Roger said, how you spell love to a young boy? And it's like, no. He said, well, you spell love by Time. That's how you spell it, because it's spending time. A lot of the kids, it's real easy to tell your kid, well, go play, we'll talk later, or go do this, we'll talk later. And our job has always been very seasonal. When the grass is green, it's busy. And so I always make sure at the end of September, I take vacation with my family. And for some people, that's tough. They don't understand. Well, I want to take summer vacation. That ain't going to work for me. I just never have time for my family. Well, make time. I remember my dad told me this, and he's guilty of a few good sayings that have stuck with me through the years. But one of them he told me is he gave me a list of things to do. And I went back to service, and you're running 90-0. And I came up at the end of the day and he said, hey, you get my stuff done? I said, well, I got 2 of the 5 things done. And he said, you know what that means, Trav? And I said, hey, Dad, I don't want to hear it. I've been busy. I've had people back there. They're upset. Their stuff's broke. Everybody wants it right now. And I can't make everybody happy. He said, well, it's not that you didn't have time. And I started kind of arguing with him. And he said, no, listen, hear me out. It's not that you didn't have time. What it is that you didn't make me a priority. And man, that stuck. That stuck. And so if you really think about it, what are you setting as a priority in your life? Are you setting stuff that is valuable, as we've heard from other people, as we've been talking about what it means to truly be successful with other people. Are you putting the right things in priority? Are you taking time to spend with your family? Are you taking time to spend with God? I saw a really neat video, and if I get a chance, I'll post it up on our Facebook page. But it was basically a guy serving a big cake, and there was like 30 people at the table, and it was like friends, family, things that I want to do, hobbies, and everyone's taking a big chunk of this cake. And it gets down to the left, and Jesus is sitting at the end of the table, and it was an example of leaving time. Right, each person was taking their slice of the cake. When it got down to the end of the table, all that was left was crumbs for Jesus. So make sure that you're prioritizing your time in the way that's going to be successful for you.
I've even heard of making, if you want to call it an energy chart or something like that, where you list out stuff you do on a daily basis, and whether it drains you of energy or it fills you up with energy. And we're not going to get around stuff that drains us of energy. That's just natural. People have to work to make a living. People have to do things that they don't want to do. That's just a part of life. But if you can make sure and make it a priority to have some things that fill you with energy as well. One thing that I like to do, I have some friends that every time we're around each other, we laugh a lot. And that just makes you feel better. Laughing makes you feel better. And being around people that you can just be yourself and not have to worry about, and kind of let your guard down and just hang out with them. And whatever that may be for you, finding something like that where you can say, hey, I'm going to devote this much time. Maybe it's an extra stressful day and you're like, hey, I really need to laugh. I'm going to give this buddy a call, or whatever that may be. But finding something that fills you up with energy and doesn't just drain you.
That's right. And so remember, you are what you eat. So you hang around with people that have bad attitudes. You got a bad attitude. People are drained. You're going to be drained. And make sure that you're taking the time, spend with your family and things that are truly important. And that doesn't keep you from being successful. That's what makes you successful.
Yep.
So it's challenge time, and I've got a good one. So we're going to take this, and I want you to put a little bit of money back. Maybe it's $10. So $10 is the minimum. And if you're got deep pockets and you want to give several thousand, I'm available, but just kidding. But if you put back $10, and I want you to put back 10 minutes, and I want you to take your $10 and help somebody in need. And I want you to take 10 minutes and spend it either with your family or with somebody that needs help. And maybe that's helping somebody that needs help with their car, or maybe that is buying somebody lunch and just letting somebody talk. And so 10 minutes and $10. That's the challenge for today. So we've gone through the podcast. The podcast was drained. Don't be drained, and don't be running on empty. And now it's time to what?
Now it is time to execute.
Execute.
Thank you for learning with us.
Join us next time as we reach for the impossible. I'm Travis.
And I'm Tyler.
And this is Strategies for Success.